Hey, Sean, Josh Reed here. The decision to have Tre'Davious White kind of shadow, sorry about that, their top wide receiver there, in the job that he did. Could you talk about what you saw on film?
Yeah, I thought it was a matchup that Tre'Davious was up to the challenge for, and but the defense staff did a good job with the plan overall, and then Tre'Davious executed. McLaurin's a good receiver, and he's off to a great start in his career. So there was a good matchup to watch, and I thought Trey did a good job.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, it's John. We understood the talent level that was on Washington's defensive front after really diving into the film. How do you feel the offensive line played yesterday?
Yeah, I thought they did some really good things, John. They really did. I thought there was times when they moved the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, sorry, Sean. If you could restart that, just your thoughts on the offensive line play yesterday.
Yeah, no, I thought they did a good job, John, in a lot of areas. They moved the line of scrimmage in the run game. They gave Josh some time. I thought there were some moments where he did get affected. It's never going to be 100% where he's clean, but I thought one thing I thought was things were timing up well for us. There was enough where the ball was coming out early, enough when the routes were timing up well in terms of their rush, because it is a good rush. So we just have to continue to grow and get better. And I've been, pleased with the progress I've seen the last 2 weeks, obviously with more work to be done there.
And on the other side, the defensive front, not the sack numbers from a week ago, although 6 would be tough to top. But how do you feel that they affected the game? Yeah,
I mean, I thought at times our run defense was where it needed to be. But quite honestly, I felt like we could have played and affected the game more than we did up front. And so now I'm looking for consistency. We're looking for consistency, and it's got to be every week. And so that's got to start this week.
Thank you.
Pat, we can't hear you, so we'll come back to you. Jay, you're up next.
Hi, Sean. Can you hear me?
I got you, Jay. Yeah.
Thanks. Zach Moss, has gone from, inactive in week 1 to being your leading rusher. Just the turnaround that he's done and the job that he did yesterday, it seemed like he, showed some elusiveness. He ran, effectively again. Just how impressed were you with his performance yesterday, and just, how he's responded here over the last, first few weeks of the season?
Sure. Yeah, he's done a real solid job. I thought Devin had some good runs in there as well, so they've been a good combination over the last 2 weeks, and that's what we expect moving forward. And Zach, to your point, I think came back off of being inactive that first week and was hungry, and I think that's a good thing. Sometimes playing time is a great motivator, right? And never want to directly send that message, but indirectly it happened for the reasons it happened, and I think he's come off of that, making the best of every opportunity that he's gotten since that point. And I'm seeing a hungry football player, and I love it.
Yeah. And then secondly, have you had any chance to get an update on Jordan Poyer? I know he came out of the game kind of late there.
Yeah. He'll be day to day at this point. We'll just continue to monitor it as it goes here.
Cool. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah. I can't hear you, John. Looks like we're having some difficulties here.
John, we can't hear you. We'll go to Nick Fierro next.
Okay. Hi, Sean. I hope you can hear me. Just getting back to that defensive line for a little bit. you do have some guys that haven't played well. I guess I'm looking at Boogie. He hasn't been active yet, and you have some guys that have a logjam at that position. Do you begin to maybe start to see about rotating those guys in there and getting them up on game day? Guys like Boogie and Efe Obada and Harrison Phillips.
Yeah, they're definitely options for us. They're good football players. I know they're hungry. They're hungry to be out there, and that's a good thing. So I think there's good competition at that position, which helps us.
Coach Mookie Hawkins, Workforce Sports Cincinnati. How you doing, sir?
Good, Mookie. How are you?
I'm great, Coach. Great offensive line play. Keeping Josh clean. He was able to play at an elite level. Carter, talk about his performance yesterday, Coach.
About Josh's performance.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I thought he got off to a good start. The third down completion to Gabe over the middle was a laser, and then it just from there he got into a really good rhythm. Quite honestly, and the offensive line again played a big part in that. And so I like how Josh took what the defense was giving him at times, and other times he created on his own. And I think there was a good balance. I thought Coach Dable did a good job of changing the looks to the defense and got him in a good rhythm. And then spreading the ball around to different targets is a healthy approach as well.
Yeah, man, that one-on-one go to the Dawson Knox, man, isolated was, I know that probably had you pretty pumped to see Dawson Knox catch that pass one-on-one like that. Once again, flip side on the defense, you sent the house a little bit last week. This week, the kind of opposite, relying on your front four. So what did you find out about your quality depth up front, Coach?
Well, we've got depth, but overall, I think we didn't play our best game up front. And we got to play better. And those guys, they're aware of that. And we've got to have a great week of practice to continue to grow as a team and as a defensive line in this case. So that starts with me. I got to do a better job. And so I'm looking forward to getting back on the field here in a couple of days.
Thank you for your time, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thanks, Mookie.
Hey, Sean, John Worrell.
Hi, John.
I think we've all got to step up our Zoom. Sorry about that. Just when it comes to facing untested quarterbacks with a defense that has a lot of experience, especially in the back end, does that generally give the defense a bit of an edge in being able to communicate and throw different things at an untested quarterback?
I guess so. I mean, that's probably a better question for their quarterback, but I just think there's certainly some areas of value to continuity and veteran players, experienced players. And I think you see that around the league when you watch the different games. So I like our players, and I think our players do a good job of learning every week from the previous game. So that's what I'm looking forward to this week.
In that sense, how much respect do you have for Dave Culley's ability to groom quarterbacks, even a guy who is coming in pretty much cold after playing, only, whatever it was Thursday's game?
Yeah, David does a great job. He's a true professional. He's been in this business a long time. He and I worked together in Philadelphia, and where he was the receivers coach, did a great job there. So he knows offensive football. I'm sure he's off to a great start as a head coach, winning his first game down there a couple of weeks ago. And his team plays hard for him, which I have a lot of respect for that.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean, Tim Graham here. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned there about Josh getting into a rhythm early, and it sounds like a vague concept, but I know there's so much nuance in that, like you mentioned, feeding off the O-line and situations. But what about, or what is it that you look at before the game, whether it be the little things like when you arrive to the stadium, what you do in your routine, any meetings that might happen. Are there things that can be done to get into a rhythm even before the game starts?
Are you saying Josh getting into a rhythm before the game
Yes.
starts?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's probably a better question for him, but I think all athletes, and it probably goes beyond athletes, all performers have routines that they like to have in place in the minutes leading up to the performance, right? So I'm sure Josh has his own routine. Just about every player that I've been around has their own. So, obviously, Josh was in a really good spot yesterday, and I expect that to continue.
Being that he's the quarterback, you don't necessarily pay any more attention to what Josh is doing before the game or how he's looking?
Oh, is that what you're asking? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I watch that. I watch different things as it relates to the weather, guys that handle the ball, how the winds are going to affect the game or not affect the game, things like that. I try and make sure I'm doing my job, which obviously Josh is a big part of that and seeing how he's doing. But I have so much confidence in Josh. And just been around the game long enough. Sometimes guys can have terrible warm-ups, but have great performances and vice versa. So you want to put stock in it, but only to a point. And I think there's a fine line there, in particular with a guy that I know fairly well and have a lot of trust and confidence in.
Thanks so much, Sean.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, it's Sal. I know you don't want to get totally into the weeds of strategy sometimes because it could differ from game to game, but when you have a chance to decide which way you want to go in a windy stadium at halftime because you have to kick the ball, kind of how much goes into that? Or do you kind of go into it pre-planning that we always want the wind in the fourth quarter? And even we were having a debate in the media a little bit on the radio about maybe the last drive, if you score points, might factor into that, depending on if you do score points or not score points. So just a little bit of maybe insight on how you determine that, coming out of the locker room.
Yeah, at halftime coming out of the locker room, Sal. Yeah, I think it's different. I don't want to go too far
right
down this whole strategy wise, but I think it's different every week because of weather, to your point, which we normally get here. So, I would tell you that when the wind's blowing against you in that stadium, it's hard to move the football through the air. And so yesterday in particular, we wanted the wind in the fourth quarter, which is why we chose what we did in the third quarter. And I thought that's why specifically it was great to watch our offense in a backed up situation, move the football out of our own end zone or end of the field there and put together a heck of a drive.
Could score actually matter and come into play? As the first half goes on, you might have to kind of flip flop your thinking. Maybe not in the specific instance, but could that happen throughout a game and say, we might want to have them go against the wind or with the wind, in the third quarter and vice versa in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of factors, and at the end of the day, it's kind of your gut feel as to where you think or what you think you're going to need based on how the game's trending and also where it could trend in the second half. There, yeah.
Great. I appreciate that answer. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Sean, it's John again. Real quick, after looking at film and talking with Heath and Isaiah and others, can you give us an idea of what happened on that kick return where the ball landed short and Washington ultimately got it?
Yeah, they were trying to hang it up there a little bit, and they did a good job of that. That being said, I thought we could have handled it a little bit better on our end also, and so that's again an opportunity for us to learn from that football game, and I know the guys are hard at work already talking about early this morning, and then working on it. They'll be working on it here the next day or two here. So, just things we can learn from, among others in the game, honestly, John.
And is that maybe just Isaiah's inexperience in that stadium returning kicks, not fully understanding the wind really does push it, especially yesterday, in that direction?
Yeah, it can be tricky. It's the way that ball hit basically a wall of wind and then went almost straight down. made it a little bit challenging, right? And so, but that's the life of a returner, in particular where we live, and so we've got to be able to do a better job with that, and we'll work on that this week.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Coach. Pat Freeman from 105.5 The Beat.
Thank you, appreciate it, Pat.
I had a question for you. Yesterday, 44 passes, 33 rushes. Is that the ideal head coach ratio in pass and run?
I like things in moderation. Again, not wanting to get too much into strategy, but look, we're going to do what it takes to win. I believe in being a two-dimensional threat offensively, and I think that's important. So I was proud of the way we had both dimensions, if you will, available to us throughout the game, and we were able to establish a line of scrimmage at times and throw the ball again at times. So I thought we were, like I said, multi-dimensional, which can become a strength.
And my last question to you, Coach, the play of your offensive line, especially the tackles, I thought they did an outstanding job against one of the better defensive fronts in football. Can you talk about your weak strategy coming into this game, knowing you were going up against a decent defensive front with that many number one draft choices?
Yeah, it was a good front. I thought our guys battled up front, and they won some, we won some, and that's going to be the case at times. Having said that, I continue to think that we're making progress, excuse me, and steps in the right direction with our offensive line and the line of scrimmage, and I've been encouraged by how those guys work during the week to improve.